Hi, I'm Rahaf Harfoush. I am an author. I wrote a book called Yes We Did, and I'm here at LIFT today talking about how technological innovation is changing the political sphere. So that was a bit of what my talk was about.
Okay, and today you work at the World Economic Forum.
Yes.
And what would be interesting for us to know is how you're working with organizations to help them integrate social media.
So we actually, at the World Economic Forum, I've only been working with the media department for a short little while. We have a very great media team. Actually, Matthias Lufkens was one of the speakers here yesterday. He had a workshop yesterday morning, I think, and he is the head of social for the World Economic Forum. So working with his team, we have just been taking a look at all the areas that the World Economic Forum is online and just seeing where there are opportunities for us to just engage more with people and to share a little bit about some of the really great work that our organization does. But he's really the chief ideator, I would say, of that. For me, generally in my own practice, what I try to focus on is to help companies really align their strategic objectives with their social media needs, because oftentimes there's a focus on tactics and not enough on the thought that goes into why we should be entering a certain space, or how are we going to measure a particular campaign, or what's going to be the value add for us as a brand, for us as a business. So I'm a firm believer that social media strategy and digital media in particular needs to be about fit, and it needs to be about understanding where your consumers are and what it is that they want. And if they're on Facebook, then you should be on Facebook, but Facebook isn't necessarily a tool for every single organization. And Twitter isn't necessarily a tool that every organization should be on either. So it's really looking at what is it that you're fundamentally trying to achieve with these tools, and then from that finding the best strategy and the best approach to connecting with people. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, it's just about having a conversation with somebody, and it's about building a relationship with people and having their opinions be heard and be validated, and that will look differently depending on the organization, because each organization has a different voice.
A lot of brands, and I think it can be even more the case for organizations, are afraid when we speak about social media to lose the control. What do you tell them?
I tell them you've already lost control. They're already talking about you online, so if you're aware of it, that's probably the best case scenario. I think it would be 10 times worse for you to discover that some things have been said about you. At least when you're in the conversation, you have some say, you have an equal outlet to the people who are talking, to have your opinions and your perspective and your point of view being heard. And I think that's very powerful. Without it, you let other people control your brand. I could actually argue that not being in social media is already losing, is already letting go of that control, because then you are letting other people control the direction and the meaning and the definition of your brand instead of being a part of that conversation.
And when we speak specifically about organizations, what do you see which are the specificity of an organization when talking about social media? Because often, it's not just selling a product, it's more about maybe values, about important topics that they defend. So maybe the approach is going to be different than a brand who somehow wants to create also a relationship, but at the end of the day wants to sell products.
I think every company has a unique strategy, so every company's social media strategy needs to reflect that difference. There are a million different objectives that you can have with social media. As you mentioned, you could just want to sell a product, you could want to promote an event, you could want to build a community, you want to increase awareness, you want to get people's feedback, you want to get some answers to some questions. I mean, there's all sorts of different things that you could possibly do in this space, and each one of those requires a different approach. So I don't know if there's one particular thing that I think is specific, except at this point I would say that every organization should have some type of web presence, at the very least a website, and then from that website being in the online communities where its consumers are and where it makes the most sense based on the objectives I listed earlier.
All right, thank you very much.
My pleasure, thank you.